Welcome to Mortgage Lending Mastery, the world's longest running podcast in the mortgage industry. I'm your host, Lady Jen Duplessis, with over 4 decades of mortgage, real estate, and financial services experience, providing the knowledge you need to advance your mortgage practice quickly and efficiently. Welcome back to Mortgage Lending Mastery. I'm your host, Lady Jen Duplessis. And with me today, I have Ed Parcaut. I was making sure. It's a French word. I love it. He is a seasoned and highly respected professional in the mortgage business with over 30 years of experience under his belt. And more importantly, he also is a proud veteran of the United States Navy. So I want to say thank you for your service. This is really big for me. I won't go into details about that. I will, after we're done, I'll tell you all about it. But so thank you for your service and welcome to the show, Ed.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we want to jump in because we've got 3 different things that we want to speak about in the time that we have together. So that gives us 10 minutes for each topic roughly. But I know that, as a service member yourself, you are dedicated to serving veterans in the industry. Obviously, that's a pretty obvious niche for you to go into. But speak to loan officers who are listening that are fearful of niches and why this is so important for you to be, or for them to be recognized as a master in one of the niches that they want to serve.
Okay. Well, so first, I do three niches. Veterans is about 80+%. Then I do business owners, and then I also do reverse mortgages. Those are the 3 I do. Business, it's weird because I do a podcast also. Right. And one of my podcasts is called Helping the Brave. And in the beginning, it was just about transition and what we talked about. Then all of a sudden, 50% of the people I started getting on there was business owners.
Right.
And so when I help veterans, I end up helping business owners also. And that's a totally different way of doing things because you can't always go with income. And I try to explain to people, when you're a business owner, you get to write off so much stuff. You don't get this, the interest rate's going to be a little bit higher because you're not paying all that taxes. So you have to pay a higher interest rate.
Well, the government lets us do it, right? Yeah. But it doesn't align with mortgage lending, guidelines. And so this becomes, so how much non-QM do you do in that arena? Because I did a ton of non-QM for investors.
Well, I find most of the time is because I get a lot of people come to me who've been other places. They just don't know how to do their income.
I know.
They don't know how to add back in depreciation. They don't add back in others. I had one that came to me and they couldn't get approved. And I knew why, because their K1 showed a loss, but they had 80,000 in depreciation. And then, each one had separate companies. Yeah. And you can add that. And the next thing you know, it's like, no problem. And I've done that many times, but back to the niches. Yeah. So when I started in this business, all I did was VA. I was in San Diego. And then I moved to Northern California to be close to my daughter, which really is Central Valley. And then my company grew and we did everything. We never niched. And then a few years ago, I got on the radio in 2018. A lot of this has to do with authority and building your brand and who you are so people find you. And then I got into doing, I did firewalks for veterans, and I started doing all this stuff again, getting back in the VA area. Because when I got out of the military, I ran away from it.
Yeah.
And a lot of us do. And there's reasons behind it when you have to figure that out. And I was figuring that out, why I did all that. And so I went back to niching back to the VA. And for me, just like a lot of people, it's like, I'm nervous because if you niche, that means you're not doing everything.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that. It just means So what I did is I actually had one company and I separated it into 3 different websites. I have Lending for Living, which is only reverse mortgage. You go to that, it has a whole reverse mortgage, only has a calculator on there that actually gives you an actual quote, like you normally get from when you have to give all your information. You get it up front because I don't want to have you talk to me or somebody else in my company to find out that you don't want it. You can find out whether or not you want it up front. Then if you want it, you can come through and talk to us. That's how it should be. And that's not, because when you give things away for free, people come to you. And so then my second one is called Loan Squad, which is only VA. We help people who've served. And that's kind of loose because I'm going to explain a little bit. When I was doing my firewalks, my first one was veterans only. And then I was going through and dealing with my PTSD and a bunch of stuff that I dealt with. I was not a combat vet, so I never thought I had PTSD and need, but I did. I was in the medical field, and it's a long story. We won't have that much time. Right. So my second one, it was veterans and first responders, because I relate more to a first responder than a veteran when it comes to the PTSD that I've seen and what I've been involved with. So when it says served, I also include firefighters, police, anybody else, nurses, including in that.
Right.
And then I have social and financial, which is for business owners. But most of my stuff still falls under the loan squad. I just run it through there because most of the business owners are also veterans. So I just put
Right. And that's at 80%. And I think what people need to understand is that when you niche, it doesn't mean that's the only thing you do. It is a marketing, you market to what you actually have. People have heard me say this on the show like 100 times. You've never seen an advertisement from Starbucks for one of their cake pops or for their egg bites or for their yogurt. They only market what they want to draw people in for. And that's what we're talking about for niching is this is where you market. This is my expertise. This is who I serve. Can I do everything? Yes.
Right.
But this is who I'm the expert on. And I think this is something that most loan officers are losing out on because they try to be everything to everyone. And then no one really understands them and what their expertise is other than call them for their rate, not for their expertise. So,
and some people like, well, they try to get in with, give me one that can't get done. I'm sorry. I don't want
I've never done that. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, but a lot of people do to try to get, and I tell people, so the reason I niche down is so that my market, what I put out there, they hear what I'm talking about and they draw into me.
Yes.
Doesn't mean I can't help their sister or brother who do something else. It just means the people I market to can hear my market and my marketing, they can understand what I'm talking about. And that's what we focus on. And if you don't niche down that way, you're not going to be busy. You're going to do a lot of everything and it's not going to be easy for you. I can do a VA loan.
I think you're going to be really busy actually, because you're going to be busy doing rate quotes, right? And your conversion will be lower because people aren't coming to you because that's what you do. And that elevates your conversion ratio. I know my conversion ratio was 87% when I was working I did the same thing. I worked with veterans. I did veteran loans, but I did them at the Pentagon. Right. So I was doing jumbo veteran loans and everything I did was that. And they go, you're the expert. So I'm coming to you. And there was no question about rate. And that's another thing. So if you're tired of the rate shopping and everything, then stop putting yourself in a position where the only thing they can compare for you is rate. Right. Okay. So I love that. I love that we've talked about this several times, but listen, if you have not made that decision to go into a niche or a niche or two, I had several as well, that you're focused on, then you're missing the boat on it. And I think that's awesome. So let's take that to building authority through podcasting. So the only reason I'm
one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
All right. So because everybody's really worried about niching. So, but when you niche, then when you talk to real estate agents, if that's who you're talking to, you just say, I don't want all your business. I just want your vets.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And then all of a sudden you got 80% of your pipeline is what you want to deal with. And people, for me, where I'm a vet, they're a vet, they trust me. They understand that I'm going to do the best for them. The problem with a lot of vets is we're trusting, but we trust with the wrong person. Yeah. And the more you get it down, the more you can figure out how to do certain things. And I think you missed this when I said this. I can do a VA loan purchase in 8 days. Which is unheard of in our industry. And I have a book coming out that's a veteran only book. My book that I put out a couple years ago was Financial Freedom, Building Personal Wealth Through Homeownership. It's for everybody, first-time home buyers. Well, I found out in that book, 10%, there's 10% missing for veterans. And so my next book, the whole book is that 10%, which is, 200 pages. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean,
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. And again, I mean, there's a lot of strategies that are behind that. I know when I spoke to my real estate agents, it was, hey, I don't want all your business either. But when you give that list, hone in on, here's the list, you can call everybody, but Jen is the expert in what you're looking for. Jen is the expert for what you're doing. So call her first, right? And I would ask realtors, who else are you working with? So that if I can't do something, if I can't do a loan for whatever reason, that I can refer it to one of your colleagues instead of out of your circle. What is their expertise? And it planted a seed of doubt with the realtor, with everyone else they were working with, because they didn't know their expertise. Right. So now I can get more deals because I have that expertise, and they can very quickly discern that it needs to go through me. Here's the list, but call her. Right. And that's what you're talking about. So this is authority. Right. So we're making this shift to building authority. I love that you've written a book. I wrote a book when I was a loan officer as well. And it builds the authority in the marketplace. This is something that I've encouraged loan officers to do for many years, is to write a book, even if it's just a pamphlet kind of book, but it's something to hand out other than a business card, which no one does anyway. Why through podcasting have you seen a benefit for your business? Because I know a lot of loan officers that are saying, well, I don't know where to podcast. I don't know what to podcast. It is the catalyst that created my success in what I do now. There's no question about it. What do you say to people that are hesitant to go on podcasts? Let's start with just guesting, and then perhaps having their own show. It doesn't have to be a full-fledged podcast, but maybe a YouTube show.
Well, I mean, you have to go on other people's podcasts, because that you get into their sandbox. You get their listeners to hear you, and then they you get in other people's boxes, and you amplify who you are, and you get across more places. I'm in California. I focus only on California, but it doesn't mean I don't go on podcasts throughout the nation, because I can refer to other people who do things like me. But the most important thing is getting my voice out there, getting seen on different YouTube channels and different things. But I didn't start podcasting. I started in radio in 2018, and I'm still in radio. And I like radio. A lot of people are like, well, radio, is it dead? Well, AM radio, it's talk radio, is the last free press, and it's going through the roof even more now.
Yeah. It definitely.
And from that, so that radio show is called Real Estate Jerky. We give you something to chew on. And from that, we turn that into a podcast on Monday. So we have the 2 days on the radio, then that turns into a podcast. And then we do a daily show from that, also in the morning and live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook.
Right. See, it's all about exposure. It's all about everyone seeing you as the consummate professional, as the expert. And we used to say this years and years ago in the lending business. We used to say, our goal is to steal as many brain cells as we can from everyone we're focusing on and that we're targeting. This is how you steal those brain cells, so that you're top of mind every time. And you may say no to something, but you're top of mind every single time. What do you think holds back loan officers from taking that leap? Is it messaging? Is it fear of, I look awful on a video? Is it, I don't know my craft well enough, I'm just kind of winging it and skimming along, that's why I'm a rate quoter? What do you think is holding people back?
We all look, if we look horrible on video, we look horrible during the day also. We just don't
it's you
know
it's what you look like.
And that's who people have been seeing the whole time. But the one thing I didn't understand is, until and that's why I still wear headphones, because I do a lot of recording and the editing part, I want to make sure there's no problem. I didn't know I had a deep voice until I got on radio, and that was 8 years ago.
Right.
And so now I knew why. Back in the day when we would send out, we used to have to like overnight packages and stuff when we did reverse mortgage. I mean, refinances.
Yeah,
I would get 90% of my packages back and close 90% of my packages. And it was all because of how I related to the client and how I connected with them. Plus, I dealt with a lot of women, and come to find out, if they on the phone is different than in person.
Yes. Yeah. Completely different. That's
but back to why people should do this.
Yeah.
I think people are, so I don't know if you know this, but 90% of podcasts fell by episode 3. Of the 10% left over, 90% of that fails by episode 20. Yes. And the biggest thing is because of the fact of editing and all the costs involved, having it. So it's not just recording it, it's doing everything else. So I think it's better to just be on other people's podcasts at first to see if you like it. And if you like it, then maybe start your own podcast. But I would tell somebody, instead of doing a podcast, if you're in an area that has local radio, AM radio, I have 1360 KFIV, which is iHeart, and I got on that station. It's going to cost you to get on radio in the beginning, because that's how it works. But once you're on radio, everybody thinks you're the authority, that you have everything. And
I know.
And I'm sorry, radio still, I know a lot of people are podcasting, but radio, if you're on radio, that's like, they think it's one level above podcasting when I think
Mhm.
it's the same. But it's just how they look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it definitely is. I used to have an XM radio program as well. And, and I don't do it any longer because I travel too much. I don't have the ability to do it. But it was, yeah, it's very powerful to do that. And I want everybody to think about this too, is where you where are you spending your marketing dollars now? And what are you getting? Most
And
people don't even know because they don't track, but let's assume you track, right? Where are you spending those marketing dollars? What, sponsoring a broker open when the broker doesn't talk to you, sponsoring something where you're standing and no one looks at you as they walk by. So where are you spending those marketing dollars? Perhaps they could be better spent there. And here's another strategy. Listen to those AM radio. It's not always AM, there's some FM too. But listen to those stations, find out who the people are that are hosting it now, and reach out to them and ask if you could offer some services, right? And be on their show as well, on their radio show. So I love everything that you're saying. It's important that we elevate ourselves and get out from the mix of the crowd, so that we can, show something more, show our expertise. I hope that we all are, in a position that we can show our expertise. The last thing that I want to talk about is surviving market shifts. I've always said, especially during COVID, you guys had the short-term gain for a long-term pain. Everybody goes, I've had the best year. Well, the market gave it to you.
right.
You didn't give it to you. The market gave it to you. So what happens when the long-term pain comes around, right? So how do you suggest that people reinvent themselves? Is it education? Is it certifications? Is it slowing down to speed up instead of speeding up to slow down? What are your guidelines or your tips that you would give people to survive market shifts and to reinvent themselves?
Well, can I go through what I went through? So I had a
Yeah.
huge team, and even during the pandemic, it grew even more.
Yeah.
And then, once we know all that happened, we went up
Yeah.
5% in a short
Right.
period of time because of inflation. And most people had no idea what inflation was because they had to be 50 years or older to
To understand
understand the last time it was here. And I kept telling people, there was not enough paying for any changes, blah, blah, blah. So the first year I had to, so my team was gone because
it.
they're just, when you're doing 30 some transactions a month and you go down to 5 or 6, you
Yeah,
don't need that team to handle everything.
that's
And the
right.
way things are set up now depending on how you're set up, I'm a broker. I do a lot with companies, and those companies are set up to help you so much now. You don't need that team anymore as
Right,
much.
right.
And with AI and everything we have, you really don't need it. So the first year I was really, how would I say this? Really upset. And because of how it destroyed my team and everything else. And then I was
Right.
watching a friend of mine, Steve Sims, who's no longer here. He passed away
Yeah,
last year.
he's a friend of mine as well. Yeah.
He was talking about one of his friends who was in a wheelchair and how when things happened to him, he said, "Did this happen to me or for me?" And then
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh." Because there was all this stuff I wanted to do, but I never had the time because I was so busy in the mortgage industry, and we make so much money in the mortgage industry compared to other things that you never will go. So I always wanted to do streams of income and multiple
Yes.
streams of income.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so I started doing other things and building out other things. I got in, I started doing AI back in 22, and I started doing a bunch of other stuff, and that has changed everything for me. I've created apps like I needed, I've done websites for people, which I don't normally do a website. I do authority websites. It's a totally different thing. It's not just a few pages. And so I got into so many, like I said, so what I tell people, so what you should do is look at how this happened. Did this happen for you? What else do you need to do to make sure that you don't go through this again? And a
Hmm.
lot of people ask me, what would you tell somebody to get into the mortgage industry or the real estate industry? I would say, don't go
Yeah.
do. There's so many other things out there. Because if you look back over my 27 years of being in this business, there's probably 14, 12 to 14 good years. The rest of
Yeah.
it, there was issues.
Yeah. Struggles and changes. And, I always
Like during the
say,
pandemic. So you had the pandemic, but
yeah,
prior to that, we had the Great Recession.
I know.
I ended up doing short sales for people,
Right.
negotiating short
Right.
sales because it was
Right.
like doing loans. And I still was
Hmm.
doing my loan business, but I was doing all these negotiating. And then I set up a whole real estate company because I was doing all these short sales.
Yeah.
But I don't like I have my broker's license in California for that, but I have it for my mortgage business. I don't like
Right.
the real estate side of the transactions. I want to do the lending. I'm the one that
Right.
tells you whether or not you are able to get that house.
Right.
And that,
And building wealth, right? It's also
right.
building wealth through a
Yeah.
mortgage and having financial literacy. I've always said that real estate agents are in the home services industry, except for 6%. And then everything else is financial services. So, even when I was doing my business, I generated as much volume as I did. Everybody's heard it on this show with 22 relationships and only 4 were realtors. I did not work with realtors for that very reason. I was playing in the financial services. So that's a reinvention for someone to play in the financial services because people will die, get married, have children, get divorced. All of those life events will happen regardless of whether rates are high or low. And that was a sustaining for me. I never had peaks and valleys. I always had a nice rolling hill. And that's something because I made that reinvention of, wait a minute, I'm in financial services. I'm not in home services over here. And it worked for me. And I can see how you're saying, it worked for you. And this is one of the things that we talk about all the time here is that we don't even buy our product. If you don't own real estate beyond your primary residence, you're not buying your own product. That's a revenue stream. And that allowed me to be able to retire 10 years ago on my terms when I hit all my goals and not look back. And that's what's important. Otherwise we look like we're clamoring for business all the time because we're relying solely on what we're making in the mortgage industry. So your thoughts on that? Anything that you'd like to add to that?
Well, only thing I'd add to that, if I just watched, my wife is out of town, Cheech and Chong's last movie. It was a documentary on how they actually bought houses
Yeah.
back in the day, back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Same thing that Stallone did. Same thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger did. In certain areas, yes,
Mhm.
they bought and they put their money in, and that's how they become wealthy on top of everything else.
Mhm.
And that is, I've owned multiple real estate, different things. But again, that's still not what I like. I prefer building what I'm doing now with apps and other things because
Yeah. There's other
there's so
different
many other
strokes
things
for
that you can
different
do.
folks. Yeah,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
strokes for different folks. And it's a matter of just, figuring out what do I do with the income that I make when the market's hot? Instead of buying a $15,000 or $25,000 watch, where could I dedicate those funds into creating a future for myself so that I'm not 85 years old and still trying to do loans to make ends meet?
But a lot of us, and we get tied by much money we make off of these transactions.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know where you are, but I'm in California. Right now my average loan amount's 550. So
Mm-hmm.
you make I don't want to say a small fortune, but you make a really good money off of a
Mm-hmm.
transaction. So people do onesie twosies, and then the things happen and get slower, and then they don't know what to do at that point. And I always tell people, what, because people ask me, are you going to get out of the mortgage industry? Because I create an app for veterans to get their VA benefits so that they don't have to go through these shark companies to do it. And my goal is to build that out and focus on that and help vets get their benefits. But I'm still going to be in this industry because I'd be stupid not to be.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because why would I refer the people who call me to somebody else when I can get them done very
I
easily?
know that's one flaw in our industry, right? In this industry, when I say our, because I still consider myself to be in it. This year was 43 years, right?
Wow.
Even though I'm not licensed anymore, I'm still in the industry. I still coach loan officers. I still coach real estate agents. I coach other business people too, but I'm still in the industry. And, it's amazing just, that to watch people not put themselves in a situation where they can be in charge of their own future. It's still just weighing heavy on, I've got to stay in this because I have to stay in it because it's the only thing I know how to do. So that's what we're encouraging you today is create some authority, build up your pipeline, and then look for new ways that you can reinvent yourself. Go find something that you really love to do. I mean, back here, you can see I've got lots of horses. My husband and I are now investing in racehorses. That's what we're doing. And we're making money on it, right? Because it's not about the race. Okay. It's about studying them out. Right. But that's what we're doing is we're saying, where else can we make money from the money we've made?
Right.
And,
You got to
and that's,
invest it. Yeah. And
yeah,
it's
you
not
got to
just
figure it out.
crypto. Yeah.
Yeah. And so where do you get more of it? this is the best industry to get more of it because we are paid so well on each one of the families that we serve. You know, it's wonderful. What would you like to leave with those that are listening here today? What's on your heart that says, you know, they got to hear this today?
Well, I want to go back to what you're talking about, financial industry where you're in.
Yeah.
I get a lot. So I just count. I probably have 7 agents I work with.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is CPAs, financial planners. I
There
even
you go.
rent office space with a
Yeah.
financial planner. And I've
Yeah.
always done that back in. So Todd Duncan, you know who he
Yeah.
is. And
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, and everybody was like, get an office, get an insurance guy in it, get this in it, get this in it. And that's what I've always done, been around those things. I don't want to be by myself. I've always been with a CPA because they refer to me, business owners, they refer to me, other people who
Right.
have
Right.
issues, and attorneys, all those different things. I have 3 books coming out. My one for veterans. I have Dividing Assets, which is for people going through divorce, what to do with their
Mm-hmm.
real estate. And then I also have, now I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I have another one that has to do with the same stuff, everything that has to do with what we deal with. Oh, the other
Yeah.
one is probates for veterans,
Oh, okay.
going through
Yeah.
probate sales because people don't understand that process. One of the
Yeah.
agents that's on my radio with me, he specializes in probates, but he never put that out there. And so I made him get a whole thing.
There you
And
go. Niching.
yeah, and that you have to
Specialty.
niche down because
Yeah.
he does it already. So again,
Yeah.
go back to niching down. You have to find what you love. Go
Mm-hmm.
through the loans you do, find out the ones you really love to do, and just niche down to those. You
Yeah.
can still take the other deals that come to you, but eventually that's all that will come to you. Right now, everything that's coming to me is veterans. And I'm in
Yeah.
a small town in Modesto, California. We have 1.5 million veterans in California. I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee we only have a few 100,000 up in my area because we don't have bases anymore. Most of them are in Southern. When I was in San Diego, it was no big deal to be specialized in veterans because you could throw something
Yeah.
and hit 3 of them. That's
Right.
not the same way here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not the same in every place you go, too. You know, so as you're listening to this and you're hearing Ed say, well, I specialize in business owners, you go, oh, I want to do that. Well, you better be an expert in tax returns and things. I mean, I was an underwriter. My FHA underwriting number is A421. That's how far back I was one of the first FHA underwriters. So I knew how to do tax returns. And that's why I specialized in investments, right? Investor loans for that very reason. So don't just go, oh, I'm going to do the business owner thing and I'm going to go sit in a CPA office and I'm going to do those loans because look at your community. Is it mostly manufacturing and everybody's a line worker? Or are there a lot of business owners? Is military something that's prominent in your area or is it not? And one of the ways to choose your niche is it's a process of elimination. It's just like lending, right? It's a process. You're not a veteran, you're not getting a veteran loan. You're not a first-time home buyer, you're not going to get this loan, right? So it's a process of elimination. If someone comes in and they have a bunch of kids and they have a bunch of this and they've got 3,000 jobs and whatever, and you love that, then do that. If you don't like it, that's not your niche. That's not your specialization. And that's how you go ahead.
One right now that hobby farms. That could be a huge niche because how do you get around? Like I had one that's just a regular thing all of a sudden, but the appraiser said there's a horse paddock on the back of this shop. And it's like, okay, that's an overhang. And they put temporary fencing in there for a temporary horse that was there for a week.
Right.
Transit. It's not a hobby farm. So those are things that you can niche on those that know how to get those done because Fannie and Freddie allow it, but it has to be certain things. I mean, if you can become a niche on it and understand how to do it.
Or duplex and fourplex, right? If you have a lot of those in your area, Colorado's like that. They have a lot of duplexes and fourplexes. And that's a big market. So specialize in it, learn how to do it, learn how to create opportunities for people, learn how to renovate with them if that's what you need to do. But don't just go out and grab something because someone else is doing it. Find something that is passionate for you, that you love to serve, that you, by the way, that you hang around with those kind of people, right? I do a lot of my average loan amount 10 years ago was 667. I hang around with people from yacht clubs because we're yacht people. We hang around with those people.
Right.
So it's easier to get business from the people you're already hanging around with, assuming that you love them and like them. So serve them. Right?
Correct.
Serve them. What do you want to leave for people?
get your brand out there. You have to
Yeah.
find out who you are. And if you don't know who you are, ask Chat, ask Claude, they'll help you.
Yes.
I'm just serious. The stuff that you can get from those two things are just amazing.
Yes.
And it will help you create who you want to be. You just have to get that out there so people know who you are. And there's so many things you can do. And you were talking about write a book. Well, write lead magnets for your
Yeah.
website so that people can download them and the same stuff. You don't actually have to publish a book, but if you
No, but
want to,
have
you
an
can.
easy. Yeah.
And there's even AI if you don't to help you do your Audible version. It'll read it for you in your voice. Once you give it 3 minutes of your voice, then next thing you know, it sounds just like you, and it will do your book for you. There's so many things that can be done now. And one thing I would say, if you're
What are
going to
you
start,
waiting?
huh?
What
What
are
are you
you
waiting
waiting
for? Yeah,
for?
that's one of the things.
What
The
are you
other thing
waiting
is, if we're
for?
going to start a podcast, I interviewed a guy who does 60 podcasts a month, different ones, and his big statement was, if you're going to start a podcast today, do a daily podcast.
Mhm.
Because to get to the top 1%, I just told you earlier on in the show that you have to get to 21 episodes, right? Because
Yeah.
the top 1% is 21 episodes or more because
I
everybody
know.
else
It's crazy.
stopped. It's so crazy. And when people say I'm in the top 1% or 0.5%, that just means how many episodes, not their downloads.
Right.
Again, people are so
Yeah.
worried about subscribers. It doesn't matter how many
None of
subscribers you
that
have
matters.
on any of your channels. If you
No.
have I know people with 1,000 subscribers who are killing it in the industry.
Yeah.
Um,
I have a friend who has 100 downloads every time he does a podcast, and he makes 1.5 billion a year.
yeah,
It's not the download. I teach a course on this. So I teach a course on podcasting. And so I know all the stats that you're talking about and everything. It's not the number of downloads.
yeah,
It is not any of that. And so my encouragement is just do a YouTube channel. Most people are listening through YouTube right now.
they search it.
And
Yeah,
because it's a lot of work. 15 years of doing this every single week, it's a lot of work. And because you've got a multitude. I've got 3 shows. I have a television show on top of it, and it's a lot of work. So if you're not willing to put that work in, and you really want to enhance your mortgage business, then do a show where you can do it on your own terms. Put out a YouTube. There's a lot of strategies behind that, right?
right. I mean, because you can interview agents that you want to talk to.
That's how I started. I
Yeah, you
started
can
in my
interview them.
office.
How did they get successful where they are
Yep.
now?
Yep.
And I mean, and the
Yeah.
thing is doing it and
Yes,
keep
do it.
consistency. Because
Yeah.
I've gone through so many people who have started these things that are in my area, and they're not doing it anymore.
They're
But
not
I'm
doing
still
it.
doing my radio show after it'll be 8 years in August, and
Yeah.
that is huge because now
Mhm.
everybody knows me as the real estate jerky guy and my
Mhm.
co-host and we have 71,000 people listen to us weekly off that
Mhm.
radio show, which
Mhm.
doesn't sound like much. It's not the same as downloads on podcasts. It's totally different. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's how they take action and what you're putting out there that's going to make all the difference in the world. And yeah, I think everything that we're talking about is very valuable. But again, I'm going to tell people, don't run to the shiny object and say, now I got to do a podcast.
No.
Make sure there's a strategy behind it, because you want to have a revenue stream from podcasting, not just a fun stream from podcasting, because you're stepping right into the same world that you're in right now. And so that's what's important about this: do the research, figure it out, find it out. So thank you so much, Ed, for being on the show. We really appreciate the opportunity to meet you. And thanks for answering my Instagram.
I don't
Sometimes my
remember how
guests
we
are.
got it. I thought we got connected some other way, but I don't remember.
Nope, I don't think. No, we didn't. I saw you post something. Look at there. There's amplifying it. I saw you post something, and I said, "Hey, would you be interested in being on my show? I'd love to share, how your success is, etc." So there's all kinds of ways that you can do it. It's very rare that I do something like that, but I thought it was great, and it's wonderful that we had the opportunity to meet. So thank you so much for being
I
on the show.
appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Thank you. And thank you all for listening and taking time out of your busy day. Be sure to check our show notes. We'll have all the connection sites for and ways that you can communicate with Ed, as well as information about our Podcast Profits Masterclass that we have all the time to help you understand and learn about monetizing the mic, right? Monetizing the mic. And we look forward to seeing you on the next show. Make it a great day. Repeat this. Take some notes, do some strategy before you take action. We'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you for joining Mortgage Lending Mastery. If you found value in today's conversation and would like to get support, simply go to supportfromjen.com. That's supportfromjen.com, or reach out to me on social media. Keep watching and listening for more insider secrets, stories, strategies, and ideas to help you become a master in your business.